All right, bless up everybody. We are here live and direct talking with Howard Dorsey about his experiences with Herbal Results olive leaf extract for multiple illness reversals. So let's just get it right into it. Please, Howard, just tell us something briefly about yourself.
Yeah, my name's Howard Dorsey, and yeah, I'm technology. I've been in technology for past 25 years, and just various businesses and coaching. So yeah, that's pretty much what I do and things of that nature.
Okay, and how old are you?
I'm 54 years old.
Okay, you're 54. All right, so let's talk about health issues that you were having before you heard about Herbal Results olive leaf extract.
Okay, I was in the military for 10 years, so I guess I adopted some pretty bad eating habits, and I was 5'11", 235. Then I went up to 265, and I was training basketball players, and I was doing an elite camp up at St. Francis University. And a guy that I got certified with came up to me afterwards. There was like 150 kid players there. And he was saying, he was like, man, look, you're one of the best trainers I've ever seen in my life, but you can't be a fat trainer. And so I was 265 out on the court doing different moves and drills. And so after that, I went to my doctor and I was like, okay, I want to lose this weight. And they did my blood work, and my A1C was up to like 11. So, I mean, I had just a lot of sugar in my body, and then my cholesterol was borderline, and high blood pressure was borderline. So immediately they wanted to put me on metformin and some other high blood pressure and cholesterol meds.
Right. So just put it in context for the people listening. An A1C of 11 is like really, really bad.
Yeah, that's
The normal number is supposed to be five or less.
correct.
Right? So he's like double that like number.
Right.
He's at 11. That's crazy. And A1C measures your long-term blood sugar. So you have the other number that would tell you like from 100 to 200, 300, and like people who are really, really diabetic, you might see like a 400. That's more of like the short-term blood pressure. I mean, not blood pressure, but blood sugar. But the A1C is the long-term blood sugar, and yours was at 11. So that's definitely, you were not even pre-diabetic. That's diabetic.
Right, right. It was bad. It was I was every day was like a roller coaster. I'm up and down based on what I would consume. And
Mm,
so I changed my diet and I lost 30 pounds. And
okay.
so I lost 30 pounds. So I'm thinking I'm good, and then my old self would come back and be like, okay, I'm going to eat this sandwich with this white bread and potatoes and potato chips. And so at that point, I had moved to the Virgin Islands, and that's whenever I went full vegan when I got down there. And that's when I saw you at the University of Virgin Islands, but I was still sick. My eyes, my vision was blurry,
Mhm.
things of that nature. So I came to your meeting at the University of Virgin Islands, and I saw some of the testimonials that was going on, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. Where a guy, he had 20% functionality of his kidneys or something, and he started drinking it. So I immediately got a bottle of it. I think I got it from one of the stores on island. And
Which
I
bottle did
started,
you get?
I got I didn't get the one I got the olive leaf extract super strength, not with the
Okay.
phytonutrients, but
All right.
just
So
super
yeah,
strength.
the regular super strength. Just let people know we have two
Yeah, correct.
formulas. We have a super strength formula and also a maximum strength formula. Maximum strength formula is for people who have very serious illnesses that put them in the hospital, right? And yours wasn't such that it put you in the hospital, but you did have a concern, and the 11 blood sugar is definitely a bad blood sugar. You also had high blood pressure, so you chose the super strength, which is a lesser expensive bottle, but it's not as strong either as the maximum strength. So,
Right. I think I paid $45 or $40 for it on island. And so I started taking it immediately. In the morning, I'd take a capful and pour it in a glass of water and just take it down.
mm,
Because I mean, and the taste didn't bother me at all because my smoothies are some of the worst tasting smoothies on earth. So,
right.
but the first couple of days, I felt like a detox. I had a little headache or things of that nature. But after, and I started using the restroom better. And after about a week, I was locked in. It was good. My energy levels went up. And then I went over to the VA after 3 weeks to get my blood work done again. And then my blood work came back that next month. And they said my A1C was down to 6, and my blood pressure was normal. It was 120/80. And then my blood pressure started, I stopped taking all the medication. I stopped taking all of it.
Okay, so you were on high blood pressure medication and you were on the diabetes medication?
I was on a metformin, which is a diabetes medication.
Yeah.
And then they gave me some high blood pressure medicine, but that made me sick, so I stopped taking it after a couple of days.
Okay.
But I stopped taking everything once I started taking the olive leaf, because I was taking CMOS too and the olive leaf.
Okay.
But the olive leaf definitely made a huge impact in bringing my numbers down. So after that, I just now I take it every day anyway. I just keep it with me. I think I'd rather be proactive than reactive.
Sure. So
because it's anti-cancer as well. So I figure with the diets that we consume, right. On the bottle, it got a whole plethora.
Yeah.
There's not much that it doesn't cover.
Yeah. Do you know what medication you were on for the high blood pressure? Do you remember the name of it?
I don't.
Okay. It wasn't lisinopril.
It was lisinopril. It was a statin.
Okay.
It was a statin. Right.
Drug.
It wasn't. It
wasn't. Okay. Yeah. So like the reason why I bring up lisinopril, because lisinopril is probably the most popular drug that is prescribed for high blood pressure, and its effects, according to American Heart Association, one of its side effects is acute renal failure. And I have a study that shows the study is entitled Renal Considerations in angiotensin converting enzyme therapies by the American Heart Association. It was put out in like 2001. And in it talks about how these class of medications, ACE inhibitors, which lisinopril is one, and you can tell an ACE inhibitor just by the name. The end of the name will be pril or ill. So captopril, lisinopril, all of those types of things. They are ACE inhibitors, and they end up causing acute renal failure. And it even says in the study that you can take it for some time and it'll be uneventful. Like you're fine, everything's cool. Then all of a sudden, out of the blue, your kidneys shut down. They tell you, oh, you got to go on dialysis. And so most of these people on dialysis, is a lot of high blood pressure medication in the mix there. And we've been able to get people's kidneys restored just by doing exactly what happened with you, by having people take the olive leaf extract, see that the olive leaf extract is maintaining their blood pressure at a healthy level. Now they don't take these other pharmaceuticals, and then lo and behold, all of a sudden the kidneys are back in function, so.
Right. Because I saw where the VA sent me a letter saying that metformin caused cancer.
Yeah, they did a recall. People can Google that, like metformin cancer recall. You could.
Correct.
Yeah, there was a recall on that. Yeah.
So I had little trust for prescriptions anyway, and my uncle that was in Washington D.C. with me, I watched him go through that whole thing. I watched him go through the cholesterol medicine, then the high blood pressure medicine, then his kidneys failed, and then he was on dialysis. So I watched that whole process. And it's not something that, you want to partake in if you can find something that's natural that doesn't have those side effects.
Absolutely. So in your situation, you were just kind of doing whatever the doctors told you, and then you just happened to run across Herbal Results product and heard testimonials. But if you hadn't just run across the product or the lecture, you might still be on that medication, or even we're suffering serious side effects from it right now, right?
Right, because I was searching for something, because I've always been in the natural lane, and especially since I was losing weight and everything, and I was just trying to be healthy in general. So I was searching for something when I saw your meeting, when I came to your meeting at the University of Virgin Islands.
Right.
And so that was perfect timing for me with the Herbal Results product, with the olive leaf extract. Okay. Yeah. So if I feel like there's a lot of people that I recommend it to, and they'll take it and it'll fix their problem, and then they'll stop taking it. And
Right.
then they'll go back to their old habits and they're wondering, oh, I need some more of that.
Right.
But I feel like it's something that's like taking a vitamin every day because it
Right.
has so many benefits to it.
Right. Basically it's a food supplement,
Correct.
right? And you know the mechanism of action is that mainly it's anti-inflammatory. And most people are suffering like what you were suffering from was an inflammatory metabolic disorder. And that's literally what you were suffering for. That's why you put on so much weight. You were suffering from an inflammatory metabolic disorder, which is 100% diet. So what's going on with you is that you're eating foods that your body's having an inflammatory response to, and the inflammation is just looking for different parts of the body to find itself based on your genetic makeup. So it might
Right.
be your pancreas for the high blood pressure, high blood sugar issue, your heart, your arteries, arterial walls, the inflammation will find itself there to give you high blood pressure and so forth and so on. And so what we do with the olive leaf extract is that simply we just found it to be one of the best anti-inflammatory herbs. And so that's why it works so well when you're addressing these inflammatory disorders that people have in terms of metabolic disorder, which is causing the diabetes. Because the reason why you're putting on so much weight is because every time you're eating foods that trigger a high insulin response. And when
Right.
that insulin response comes, your body literally goes into a fat storage stage. Like literally. Like your body, a lot of people don't realize this, but your body has two sources of energy. One is glucose, and the second is fat. The body will use glucose first, and then the glucose will store itself as fat. And then the body will use fat if it runs out of glucose. It's something that we developed as human beings over our evolutionary process to be able to go long times without food and to be able to live off of the fat of our body.
Right.
So that's how the body evolved. And so what happens is that if you're eating foods that are increasing sugar in your body, glucose in your body, it gets stored as fat. It just gets stored as fat, gets stored as fat. And so that's what was happening. That's why you're gaining so much weight. That's why fasting is so important, because what happens is that fasting then sets you off in a pace where your body's no longer releasing insulin, where you're in fat storage, you're in fat burning stage.
Right.
So it takes about 8 to 12 hours after your last meal for your body to make a transition from glucose usage of energy to fat usage of energy. So if you want to lose weight, the quickest way to lose weight is just to fast.
Right.
You know, like I fast all the time, like a 3-day fast. I did a 4-day fast last week, just water for 4 days. And I lost 13 pounds in 4 days. The first day, the first 24 to 48 to 36 hours, I lost 5 pounds.
Wow.
Do you know how many miles I would have to run to lose 5 pounds? I would have to run 81 miles to lose 5 pounds. So you have a choice: fast for 36 hours or run 3 or 4 marathons.
Right.
You know,
I'm not running 3 or 4 marathons.
You see what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the whole thing is to temper what we eat, to make it anti-inflammatory, and then to eat anti-inflammatory herbs as part of our natural dietary makeup. And that's what you're doing with the olive leaf extract. And so, I mean, I see you now, man, you look full of energy. I never even knew that you were overweight.
Oh, yeah. My
I've always
energy.
known you. Yeah. I've always known you to be a pretty kind of medium-sized, thin dude. So it's a shock you telling me that you were actually overweight.
Oh, I was 265, man. I looked like I was bleeding, like sweating butter. I was.
And how tall are you?
I'm 5'11".
5'11", 265, yeah.
But when I went into the military, I was 235, and I was running probably 11:22 miles, like 2 miles in 11 minutes and 20 seconds. So they called me a heavy drop because I could run, and I wasn't out of shape really, but I just was carrying all that weight.
Wow. And so how much you weighing now?
Now I'm 185. So in total, I lost like 80 pounds, 85 pounds. Yeah.
Yeah, man. That's a great story.
I think it saved my life. I know it saved my life. And that's what I was looking at. I was looking at, well, I got 2 grandchildren and and I have 4 or 5 children myself. So I want to be here for them, to provide solutions to unlock their possibilities and whatever they go. I share all this with them. So whatever they go through, I'm trying to shrink their learning curve.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, to hear you saying it saved your life, man, that's a powerful testimonial, Um,
Definitely.
I, that gives me so much more strength to keep on going on and making sure that the olive leaf extract is known to the world, and at Herbal Results, we try to make the strongest and the best. I think we do make the strongest
Right.
olive leaf extract in the world. And
I wanted to ask you one
yeah,
question. Why is you extract yours with vegetable alcohol, correct? And there's
yeah,
some
yeah, with vegetable alcohol, not vegetable glycerin.
yeah, vegetable alcohol. Well,
Yeah,
there's other versions in the stores. Why is the vegetable alcohol better than the
the vegetable
pills or
glycerin. Oh, okay, that's a
or
great
the
question. So they have for those listening, the olive leaf extract from Herbal Results is liquid, right? And the reason why it's liquid as opposed to powder olive leaf in a pill or in a capsule is because, according to the physician's desk reference, uh, liquids absorb at 98% in the body. So what happens is that liquids, because they're liquids, they don't go through the digestion process. They bypass digestion and go straight to absorption.
mm,
Whereas solids, such as the powder or the leaf form, it only has a 10% absorption rate because it
okay.
goes through the messy digestion process, which loses a lot of what would be absorbed. So you're only getting a 10% absorption as opposed to a 98% absorption, which is damn near 10 times more effective to take a liquid herb than to take the herb in powder form. So that's the reason we wanted, because we knew that we are dealing with very, very sick people who have inflammatory metabolic disorders, and we want to be able to get them the strongest medicine, something that will absorb as quick as possible. That's why we can see the olive leaf lowering blood sugar and blood pressure within 2 hours. Most people
Right.
take it, and then within 2 hours, their blood pressure is lowered by at least 30 points. Their blood
Mm,
sugar can get normalized within 2 hours. So the liquid form is one reason. And the other thing is that other companies that do make the liquid olive leaf, they make a weaker form because they're using vegetable glycerin as the extraction method. The problem is that vegetable glycerin is about 3 times weaker in terms of the medicinal extraction of the molecule, which is called oleuropein, which is um, that's the molecule, that's the medicinal compound within olive leaf extract. It's called oleuropein, Oleurepein, and it extracts at a much higher rate of efficiency when you use alcohol as the extraction medium as opposed to vegetable glycerin. So there's a lot of people who get different brands and they'll say, well, I've used olive leaf extract in the past and it hasn't done this like dramatic change in my numbers. Why is yours so much more effective? And that's because we looked at the science, and we looked at the science of extraction, did experiments, and, we looked at it to be able to give people the best product possible.
right. Because when I recommend it to people and then they say, oh, well, I can just go get it at the dollar store or CVS or something like that. I'm like, well, it's not the same type of product. It's
Right,
not.
right. And I mean, there's a reason. It's the scientific reason is that the extraction medium is weaker, and they might be using a solid form which only gets 10% absorption. And we're giving you something that gives you 98% absorption. That's 10 times more powerful. And so it's going to do more work for you in terms of the anti-inflammatory work that needs to be done to your body because of all of the inflammatory abuse that we give our bodies every single day by opening our mouths and eating. And I'll just
Right.
say this, as I always say to people, like the clue is right under your nose. It's like your teeth, right? Like sugar can burn a hole into your teeth. So
Oh,
imagine
yeah.
what sugar is doing to your soft internal organs, right?
Right.
Causing a whole amount of corrosiveness and inflammatory conditions inside of your body. And olive leaf extract reverses that by making your body more anti-inflammatory.
And so another thing that was critical for me is like I'm a disabled veteran. So at my back, I got degenerative discs in my back. And so when I take the olive leaf extract, my pain is less. than it is when I'm not. And then if I stop taking it, my whole back starts aching. So that's when I know, hey, I forgot to take my olive leaf. So like you said, inflammation, arthritis is inflammation too. So it helps me in that aspect too, because I was in pain 24 hours a day. I'm gonna keep it real with you. Oh
I
yeah.
didn't even know that.
Oh yeah, it was rough. You know, if you're in pain 24 hours a day and that's all you're thinking about, that does something to a lot to your psyche, your psyche. But I still just pushed it to the side and, fought through because there was a lot of people that was dependent on me. So I had to, keep rolling. But the olive leaf extract definitely removes the pain if you have arthritis.
Yeah, so that's good to know, man. Very happy to hear that we were able to help a good brother out with a product that we want to be disseminated to the rest of the world, and it's always a beautiful thing and encouraging for me to talk to people directly. And I'm gonna do more of these for people so that people can actually see really that we have the scientific evidence and we have the testimonials, but none of that matters if it doesn't work for you. So
right.
The fact that it worked for you is a beautiful thing, man. I'm glad that we were able to match up our scientific data with the testimonials of other people for it to actually have a great effect on your life in so many areas of your health. I didn't even know about the pain issue, but
oh yeah,
your high blood pressure, high blood sugar, your cholesterol was taken care of, and then your pain also. So,
and I actually last year I caught COVID in December, I think it was, and it hit me hard because I was coming back from all that stuff, and I was taking olive leaf and moringa the whole time I was sick. And I had no mucus in my body, man. Like everybody else was coughing up mucus.
Yeah.
And I can say that, it saved. That's why I say it saved my life, because if I wouldn't have been taking it and I filled up with mucus, I could have just, like a lot of people died from mucus that had underlying conditions from, suffocate.
Because it was you get a thrombosis or you get these inflammatory episodes in the lungs. And so olive leaf is going to keep that inflammatory episode from happening. And it's also a zinc ionophore, right? So
correct.
So we got 5 things, right? We got high blood pressure, high blood sugar, cholesterol, pain, and also dealing with that viral infection, right?
Oh yeah. So definitely helped me tremendously. And I appreciate you for like it just for you to think about something like that, to want to help people. Like there's not a lot of people like that, for your mind to go in that space and say, you know what, our people are suffering. So let me create something that's going to alleviate one of the number one things that's killing people in this world today, inflammation.
Yeah. I mean, I decided to just like kind of really study the situation and see what the underlying issue was for all that. Because, it doesn't make sense that if you're over 40 and you're living in America, so you're on some type of medication,
right.
And they tell you you're going to be on it for the rest of your life. So it didn't make any sense to me. And I just wanted to get to the bottom of it. And I found that inflammation was the key to all of these illnesses. And you find something that's anti-inflammatory, like olive leaf extract, and then also cut out inflammatory foods in your diet, you can restore yourself back to perfect health, because the body wants to be healthy.
Correct.
It just needs you to just stop feeding trash so it stops having inflammatory responses, which is basically a science experiment. Every time you're eating, it's a science experiment. If you're either triggering an inflammatory response or you're not. So you want to eat so that you don't trigger inflammatory responses. That's really what it is. And then, don't eat as much. Just don't eat so much. That's the other side.
Yeah, I started just eating once a day, do a couple smoothies, and just eat once a day. That was one of the secrets to how I lost weight the way I did. Because a lot of people were like, oh, you got to go to the gym and you got to lift and you got to run 5 miles. And I was like, I lost 40 pounds just by eating once a day now.
Yeah. And there's a whole science behind it. I mean, it's called intermittent fasting. So like whether you knew it or not, you were doing intermittent fasting. And whenever you can cross that 12-hour mark, your body starts going into fat burning stage.
Okay.
Anybody who can cross the 12-hour mark of not eating, your body goes into the fat burning stage, where it's living off of fats in your body and it's burning the fats. And it's like you can actually lose weight just through mind activity. People don't know how many calories the mind burns. Like it can even burn more than you doing aerobic activity. They've measured chess players. Chess players lose a lot of calories during the time that they're playing chess because their mind is at work. They've even seen the chess players lose more calories than people who are working out.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's what the mind will use. And think about it. Think about, before we close, how many obese intellectuals do you know of?
Not too many.
I
don't know any.
Yeah, the mind takes a lot of power, energy from the body. So if you go 12 hours and you're like doing thinking and you haven't eaten for 12 hours, your body ends up burning a lot of fat, more than if you were running, you know, to lose weight on a treadmill. It's crazy, you know, it's very interesting. And that's a whole different interview. That's a whole different conversation. But yeah, it's just a mix of not eating so much, eating the right foods, anti-inflammatory food, and then taking anti-inflammatory herbs as part of your diet.
Right.
Yeah, man. So we had Herbal Results, man. We're happy to hear about your message, bro. I'm glad that I know you personally and was able to add some value in your life with a product, man. And, you know, thank you for spreading the word, man.
No doubt. I appreciate you.
All right. That was Brother Howard Dorsey. And he had a great story about high blood pressure, high blood sugar, cholesterol, pain, and viral infection reversal with Herbal Results olive leaf extract. And I believe he uses the super strength formula. So
correct.
Yeah. So we'd like to thank you for coming on and sharing your story with us. And to the listening audience, you'll be getting more and more stories like this as we move forward. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
All right.
Trees are beautiful things.